The world of motorsport is amazing. It challenges drivers and manufacturers to their limits. Everybody's fighting to get any small advantage over the other teams. Now today we are going to take a look at 10 race cars that were banned from racing and why they were banned. Let's start this list with the Chaparral 2J. It was a race car that was just way ahead of its time. The 2J was powered by a ZL1 427 which produced 650 horsepower. That's a lot. Remember, this car raced in 1970. That engine was paired with a semi-automatic 3-speed gearbox. But there is nothing weird so far. I'm guessing you've noticed the fans. Well, the car also featured a 2-stroke 45 horsepower engine that powered 2 fans at the rear of the car. The fans created 9,650 cubic feet of air per minute. Why? Because the fans literally sucked the car to the ground. So it did serve a purpose, but it was also a menace to other racers. You see, roads aren't perfectly clean, so when you drive a car with 2 huge fans in the back, all the debris that is on the road will be sucked up and spit out on the faces of the other racers. The 2J didn't ever really win any of its races due to mechanical problems, but the technology was banned before we could see its true potential. Now the next car took inspiration from the 2J. This is the 1978 Brabham BT46B, and it is a race car that only raced once. F1 legend Gordon Murray reinterpreted the 2J's innovation. The huge fan was driven through the gearbox, and it served the same purpose as it did on the 2J, sucking the car to the ground. This made it possible for the driver to corner at insane speeds. The car easily won its first race, but as you might think, the other teams weren't too happy. And after just one race, the fan technology was banned from Formula 1. So, one race, but it did win that race. Moving from F1 to VRC, rally is and was a really dangerous sport. Most races were held on public roads and wooded trails. And with cars getting faster and faster, safety was starting to become a serious concern. So how do you stop manufacturers from making the cars even faster? You enforce a rule on all cars. And in 1995, the FIA required all rally cars to have a restrictor plate between the turbo and the engine, restricting airflow and limiting power. Well, this is the Celica GT4, and it got banned because Toyota's engineers were naughty. You see, they figured out a way to have the restrictor plate in place at low speeds, but as the car gained speed, the plate would just move out of the way, thus removing the restriction. Essentially, they cheated, and the FIA discovered this and banned the car. Now, like I said with the Celica, rally is really dangerous, and here is the instance where they banned not one but an entire group of cars because the cars were just too fast. The Group B rally cars, which included cars like the Audi Quattro S1 and the Lancia Delta S4, were all banned, but not due to a competitive advantage. No, they were banned because it was dangerous. You see, Group B cars could make upwards of 500 horsepower, and they could reach alarming speeds in a very short amount of time. Now, you might think, well, that's kind of the whole point of racing, isn't it? But like I previously mentioned, rally cars aren't raced on closed tracks. They are on normal public roads and dirt trails. What's more is the fact that rally fans have a death wish. I mean, just look at these clips. These cars are just too dangerous and had to go. Now, this isn't the only time a whole group of cars were banned from racing. This is the 1992 R32 Skyline GTR, and with its 2.6 litre twin-turbo straight 6, it dominated in the Group A races down under. It was nearly undefeated, and it destroyed on all the tracks it raced. But as you might think, spectators and the other teams grew sick of the same cars winning over and over again. So the governing bodies banned turbocharging and all-wheel drive from their races, thus making it impossible for any Skyline to compete in these races. From one car that dominated to another, the Porsche 917-30. This is another example that proved that a car can be just too fast, and it will get banned. The Porsche 917 Can-Am used a turbocharged flat 12 that produced 1,300 horsepower. Now that's a crazy number for a race car today, and this was in the mid-70s. Its competitors just couldn't compete, and the 917 embarrassed them all. This put the organizers in a similar position the Skyline put the Group A cars. If you have one car that is just too fast, it makes the racing boring because you have the same car dominating every race. In 1974, Can-Am's organizers introduced a fuel limit on turbocharged cars. This forced Porsche to pull out of the races. But imagine if they never did this, then the competitors would have been forced to improve on their cars. the race cars of today would have been insane. Talking about insane, this is the 1968 Lotus 56 and it's a 4-wheel drive turbine car. Damn, I'm good. That transition is just wow. Cell 5. The car used a turbine engine and 4-wheel drive in order to qualify on pole, and it led most of the race, the only one it was ever in, and it never actually won the race. You see, there was 3 turbine powered Lotuses entered into the Indy 500. One crashed, one broke down, and the one that was leading the race dropped out due to a failing fuel pump. After this race, the USAC imposed additional restrictions on turbine cars that essentially removed them from the competition. I don't really understand why the cars got banned, because the turbine cars weren't dominating. In fact, they were relatively evenly matched. Anyways, let's move on to NASCAR and the Dodge Charger Daytona. The 70s Charger is a legend among muscle enthusiasts. I mean, Dom drove one and he did a filthy wheelie. Badass. But the Daytona is just next level. It has a massive wing and a cone-shaped nose, improving its aerodynamics. The Daytona was developed to compete in NASCAR and they did a great job. The Daytona was the first car to break 200 miles per hour in a NASCAR race. The Charger Daytona and its brother, the Plymouth Super B, won so many races that they got banned, and these funny looking muscle cars disappeared from NASCAR forever. Now to some drag racing and one of the most interesting cars on this list. Sneaky Pete Robertson's Jumping Jack Dragster. Now before I start, this dude's nickname is Sneaky Pete. So you know this dude probably did some interesting things to get an advantage. Now on Jumping Jack, his dragster, he installed a lever that would raise the rear wheels off the ground, meaning he would get the wheels moving, and as soon as the race started he would drop the wheels onto the ground. Weird idea. I'm not even sure if it's a good one. It sounds dangerous because you are causing wheel spin on purpose. But after just one race it got banned anyway. Hey, we are on the last car on this list. If you made it to here, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you. If you like this video, consider subscribing and liking this video. Anyways, back to the last car. This is the IMSA Consular GTP. And first impressions is it's ugly, but it was a really good race car. The Consular GTP, conceived by Warren Mosler in 1985, was a 2,200 pound mid-engine sports car. It was powered by a 2.2 litre inline-4 turbo engine that made 190 horsepower and had a top speed of 250 km per hour. The GTP was really successful in IMSA racing for 6 years. However, its excellent power to weight ratio made it almost unbeatable in the racing, and this led to the car getting a 300 pound weight penalty just before being banned completely. But if you enjoyed this video, like I previously said, leave a like and subscribe. I've got more list videos similar to this one. I'll leave a pop-up, and I've got just videos on new cars as well, so just go through it. Maybe there's something you like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers, eh?